Hey, we got a goddamn Ripper here! Turn around!
Not a Ripper!
Hey, whoa, hold up. I know her. Put that away, I got this.
Okay, take care of her. Not my problem.
Is this your ride?
It's a piece of shit, but it runs.
Well, I don't know if you're sticking around, but I could have Ricky take a look at it.
I brought some bounties to trade.
Okay. Then, I should probably introduce you to Joe Haslin. He's the bounty collector. He's right up this way.
I'm not staying. I'm not staying in a goddamn camp.
Yeah, do whatever you want. You know, while you're here, I'd like to introduce you to someone. Her name is Sarah. She had a kid sister that, well, her kid sister reminds me of you, so I thought that maybe you would like her.
I had a sister. She was older than me. A pain in my ass.
Kind of reminds me of my older brother, Boozer. Real pain in my ass. Actually, he's not my brother. We rode together in the AMC. And he's the head of security around here, so you should probably meet him too.
I told you I'm not staying.
And I heard you. Seriously, do whatever you want. So what kind of gun you got there? Are you making sure that you ride out with plenty of ammo?
Yeah, I got enough. I'm good.
Yeah. I always rather had to work at that.
Deacon, good to see you.
Blair, how's it going?
You here to buy something?
Buzz, how you doing?
Come back if you remember what you want.
Hello everybody and welcome to possibly one of the final videos I'll be doing on Days Gone. This is obviously the review. I wanted to add that little bit of story release at the start because, you know, something I wanted to do, kind of finish off the game with a bit of story at the end. It may end up ruining some spoilers, so even though there's not a major story, near the end of the video there is a clip for the end game at the final cutscene to the main storyline and that, so I just want to warn you, if you're only here to see what my point of view of the game is, then don't watch the end of it, essentially. I will be putting a warning before that starts, just to let you all know, because the last thing I need is like, oh, I want to see what this game's all about, then end up watching the end of it, then get instantly spoiling the end of the game. That's not something I want. Today I want to talk about, obviously this is going to be a lot more in-depth review than usual, due to the fact I've done a game development course and I know how to test games and stuff like that. Now you can know what goes into a game and know the work that must go into these types of games, which means you can kind of respect the game developer more, I would say, because trust me, it takes a lot to put into a game. If people say, oh, you need to fix this bug, there's this glitch, there's that, but really it's a lot harder than that. You need to go into the code, you need to go into the map to see if there's anything interfering. You need to, the actual developers that are trying to fix the bug needs to know how it happens. So if you ever encounter a bug and you want to report it to developers, make sure it's in detail. If you can, get a clip, It's a lot easier to do it nowadays with the PlayStation, and I don't know about the Xbox, but I'm sure they can record. But it's a lot easier for them to, if you just send them the video clip. I've done it a couple of times with Rockstar. I don't know if I patched it, but I've done the same with Rise of the Kings. If there's a bug, I explain in detail how to recreate it, so the developers be able to find it a lot easier when they try and do it. Enough trying to do that. A lot of people don't understand, I would say. I mean, I didn't until before I did the game development. I knew it would be difficult, but I didn't realise how much work is put into it, how much man hours, even the team. You've got a team of hundreds upon hundreds. I mean, this game, for example, supposed to be started to get developed in 2012, which is a long time to put into a game. And obviously because the masterpiece today is today, and to be honest, probably one of my most favourite games I played in a long time. Honestly, not saying something considering all the games I've played, like Assassin's Creed for example. First I want to start off with the story. The story of the game was... There's a lot of twists, man. There's a lot of twists in this type of game. There's a lot of things I wasn't expecting. You know, like being like with the Rippers, with Boozer, even with like other parts, even with Sarah. Finding out what happened is finding out what actually did happen was amazing. It was just, you kind of felt like it was good for Deacon, or Deke in a way. Because he gets to know what happened. I'm not saying she's dead or alive, I don't take my word for it, just in case. But the story behind it is amazing. How a different type of twist there is, finding out more about the story behind Nero and what happened, how it began, Freaker infection. And I'll also get back onto the Freakers in the second, actually, because we'll be covering a bit more about talking about the story. It's amazing how each of these characters have an effect on Deacon's life, or even how their DMC affected their lives before shit went down. And in my opinion, it's fantastic. I mean, massive props to the writers. They did a hell of a job. They surprised me multiple times. They even got me in the end. I fucking loved them for it. Whoever those writers that, if you're watching this video, you probably won't, but you know, if you're watching this video, major props to you. You've done a hell of a job. You probably heard this quite often, but you know, I love the way you've done the game. Absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the actual graphics. Granted, it's better on the PC due to the high-end tech you can get. I'm not going to dispute that. The PC has always been the top end in gaming for graphic-wise and smoothability. Smoothability, is that even a word? How smooth the game can run and all that with the frames per second, with the controller and the speed where it's not lagging or being cluttered like it is with the console sometimes. I'm looking forward to the PS5 though, but that's a completely separate topic that I've been researching for my course. Completely separate topic. But oh, screw me. Yeah, I'm not. This is being recorded. I'm just watching as I'm talking. So the environment, it's beautiful. Then in the part where Deacon and I can't remember the other guy's name was on the bike and they were automatically driving. I like the fact the camera kind of automatically panned towards the mountain. In a way, I found that a little bit sneaky on the developers' part because they've done that on purpose. I know you did that on purpose. Well, I love you for it at the same time because I wouldn't have noticed it. It's the environment during some of the flashbacks when before the ship went down with Sarah. Some of the flashbacks, I'm just looking around, looking at the stars, looking at trees, looking at the wildlife, the way the movement from the wind, absolutely phenomenal. Considering it's the PS4, I can see it capped at 30 frames per second, it still looks amazingly good. So, the next thing I want to talk about is the characters. The graphics of the characters are amazing. You can see the actual facial expressions. Like when I was talking with O'Brien at the start, so what's it going to be, O'Brien? The way it's his face is like, yeah, like, you understand that facial recognition, you understand what face he's making, the question he's asking, and I know he's serious about it. Not because it's about an MC, you know how the MCs are badasses all hell. But what I love about it is the the characters, animations, the way they look and that, I found that pretty fucking amazing. You've got to admit yourselves. So the water and the snow, I love the way the water looks. It looks, although it kind of looks like any other water in any other game, if you look close enough, you can tell there's like subtle movement. Obviously, you've got to have the eye, so to speak, like attention to detail, knowing what to look out for. It's difficult if you're not doing a game development as well. It's easy if you've done research and you've learnt about it, or you've played a lot of games similar to these. But due to my course, one of my courses was Unit 30 animation, that's helped develop my eyes, so I'm looking a lot more into the game than I usually would. But yeah, my course is probably one of the best courses I've ever been on for gaming. But with the snow, I like the way, as you saw earlier on in this video, when I braked, you see the snow kind of go in front of the bike. That's what I like, just that kind of stuff. That satisfying, it's aesthetically pleasing to me. Because you're seeing even the snow affecting the bike, the traction on it, even the rain, it affects the traction and the grip you have on the road. And now it's massively important that you get that right, because if you don't, then it kind of ruins the immersion a little bit. You'll see in the gameplay that I'm kind of slipping a little bit as I'm driving. But that's what I like. I mean, it's easily controllable. I love the snow, actually. I love doing little drifts and that. It's a good way to get that trophy, actually. Yeah, like that, for example. You see, and then kind of straighten out. It's the snow's traction effect on it, which, in my opinion, it's satisfying. It's aesthetically pleasing to me. Every time I do it, I'm like, yeah, they've got this right kind of thing. Obviously, it's easy to do if you know what you're doing, but and next I want to talk about a little bit about the animations. The animations between, obviously at the start of the live stream there was a little glitch that happened, but that's to be expected. It is a large game. There's going to be unexpected bugs that the beta testing wouldn't have found, because each bug is different. You might have, say for example, the bike might get caught or something and be launched into the sky. Now if you were to somebody else to do the same thing, try to replicate it, it wouldn't happen. So it's usually just dependent on what goes on and how it loads in. Usually those aren't like very high severity glitches. But the glitches that do usually get noticed and patched quite quickly is the ones that impede progress. For example, at the start when the animation didn't work out and the enemy was still technically alive, it didn't impede progress as much, but it was still something you wouldn't want to happen while you're trying to silently take out a camp, which doesn't last long. I must admit, stealth is not my strong suit, unless the game is made around stealth. And yeah. Other than that, the animations between this character, the way they run, it's fluid, it's smooth. I mean, just in my off time, like off camera, I'm watching the animations between the freakers, Deacon, and other enemies, like seeing how they move. It's quite intriguing. I mean, if you look at here, if you watch the freakers and the way the Deacon rolls and that, you can see that obviously the animations for death aren't as good. You think there'd be like some kind of explosion where they go flying, but I'm not fussed about that. I mean, they still die. As long as they die, who cares? So you can see by the running animation, a lot of slow-mo in it as well, actually. But you can tell by the way the freakers move, they actually are freakers. They actually live up to their name, even though it was us that gave them it, but you know. So I'm going to move on to the gameplay area. You got the ambush camps, and what I love about them is the fact that they actually affect what happens when you're out and about. If you have an ambush camp nearby, you're going to get ambushed. I can't tell the amount of times I've been clotheslined. You've probably seen it in one of the videos, and they get clotheslined, you have to fix your bike, which really is frustrating, because it takes like, what, 5 scrap or something like that? And usually you're going to have 10 maximum until you get the upgrade. But to me, that's in a way good, because then it entices you, like, well, I need to get rid of this fucking camp, but if something else happens to me, or if I'm low on health trying to get away and then to get killed and losing progress. That kind of thing, if that makes sense. It is annoying sometimes, but I think that's the point. It's an ambush camp, so getting rid of those not only rewards you with a possible recipe, rewards you with quite a bit of XP, it unlocks a new fast travel area, and it gets rid of any possible ambushes like the clotheslines, snipers, Or even when you're just falling in to get some gas, they can ambush you there. You know, that kind of stuff. That is kind of amazing, actually. Now, what I do also like is the crafting. Some of the crafting materials you use quite often, like the Molotovs and the napalm Molotovs, those resources are kind of difficult to come by sometimes. Especially the kerosene. I always seem to run out of that like every 5 minutes. Especially when you're trying to go with infestation, nests and hordes, for example. And I'm burning through all my ammo because I just want to get on with the hordes. I can't get on with the hordes without any way to explode them. I really need to use that traps more, but even then I'm always running out of stuff for specific items. Slightly frustrating, but if you know where to look, like I do, I know some areas are where to look properly, which I'll most probably cut here and probably show you. But some of the areas do restock on their resources, which is good, because that allows you to go back to that same area and get more resources should you need it. As well as at the ambush camps as well, if you were to kill a bunch of enemies, they may have a Molotov or two on them. I've found a couple of Molotovs before and I was like, oh sweet, now I can get rid of this infestation zone. Which is lucky, I would say. Now the actual hordes and the freakers, I'm going to go back to the animations in a second. But the AI they've implemented is just phenomenal. If you've looked at some of the gameplay before, or taken on the hordes itself, and you'll see that they try and surround you. Instead of going, you know, the majority of the games, they beeline straight for you, they go straight to where the player is. But the hordes don't. They have a mentality that tries to surround you. Which in my opinion is actually really fucking clever, if you think about it. Because if you're able to make the AI try and swarm you, it challenges the player's awareness of the area as you're fighting the horde. Instead of going for the middle, you get hit from both sides, and by throwing out you're swarmed and killed. So you're kind of having to keep an eye on everything as well as behind you as you're moving backwards in case any other freakers appear. Or even a rager. I've had a rager attack me once doing a horde. Unfortunately I didn't record it because I thought I was, but I didn't, unfortunately, so I ended up losing a bit of footage there. Whoops. But it was a fucking... the fact that the horde went after the rager as well kind of helped me out, because I didn't think that would happen because they didn't have all infected. But between each type of freaker, except for the screamers, however, yeah, you see the rager there. A good thing he didn't show up. Well, kind of wish he did now, but there were the different freakers attack each other. You've got the ragers attacking normal freakers. You've got the reaches attacking normal freakers. You've got the breakers attacking normal freakers. It's strange how the infection works. It kind of intrigues me as to why they're doing that. I don't know if that's an actual gameplay mechanic or there wasn't much supposed to happen or my game is broken. I don't know. Possibly it's an intended thing. Because when my game glitches out, I'll kind of restart it and then it fixes itself. That kind of thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm assuming it's meant to happen because it happens throughout the entire game. No matter how many times I restarted it, even reloaded it, and the enemy was there, I just still did the same thing because I'm assuming it's a mechanic. But I'm assuming it is. You know, if it was a bug, it probably would have fixed it by now. But what I do like is the actual screamers. When they scream, you get that like hallucinogenic thing happen on your screen, which in this video I noticed when that happened, these freakers kind of spawned in. So I don't think it attracts screamers. I think it attracts freakers. Sorry, I think it spawns them in. Hence why it kind of shakes. So it kind of disorientates you for a couple of seconds. So the enemies can spawn in and attack you, which I found pretty clever. It's an easier way rather than having to find whoever's around and come to you to spawn in. Similar to the screamer on 7 Days to Die, when they scream, a horde spawns in rather than, well, miniature horde spawns in rather than attracting the areas around. If that makes sense. I think it does, but I think it also spawns in. In my opinion, it's actually quite smart in a way, because then you have to deal with the screamer, or as you're going to get fricked by a horde essentially. Moving on to the artwork. Some of the artwork in game is pretty interesting. For example, you see your bike at the start when you start the game up. Now obviously that's going to be quite good because whatever upgrades, whatever paint you apply, you can see it. you can actually see it in the start menu, which I thought was pretty smart and actually really nice of them to do that. Other artwork such as the concept art and that, I've seen a couple the game before the game released, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty damn good. Obviously, concept art you have to be quite artistic for, obviously, but it's nice to see that kind of stuff, and even implemented in games as well, at the start menu and that. It just looks nice. It makes it look, well, obviously going to look unique for that game, but it makes it look like your own bike is there, even though it is, but it's kind of hard to explain this a little bit. You get my meaning, I'm hoping, because then you're able to see what your bike looks like and man to oh yeah, that's what I did with it. You're able to see the decorations you've got, the decals on it, the livery or whatever on your bike, which I thought was quite nice of him to do that. There's something as well, a lot of games don't do that for your characters, if you're able to see them. Except for Destiny 2, you're able to see what your character's wearing before you select your character, for obvious reasons. Something I'm kind of related to those games, but I like the way they've done it, because you're able to see the bike that you have. What was that there? You're able to see the bike that you currently have with all the upgrades, you can even see it a little bit better as well than you could see in game, which is pretty decent actually. And the start menu has like some kind of animations with the wind bit, which I found pretty interesting. So yeah, back onto the story concept. I thought it was the end once you like finish off the main story, the militia and that, as I saw in the last episode, which is obviously the ending, but with even more twist, which I love it, but I hate it at the same time, because I was expecting this to happen, this person died, but then not. You expecting that person died, but they're alive, that kind of thing. You expect, oh, this person's bound to be dead by now, there was way too many, but somehow survived, that kind of thing. Or an explosion happens and they survive, that type of stuff. That's probably one of my favourite parts, is just the way they've done it is amazing. But even after the credits, if we're picking up some Horde stuff, this will be a long ass video, by the way. But even after the credits, the final thing that happened after the main story ends, after the credits rolled and all that, which I found pretty intriguing, because to me it feels like they're hinting at Days Gone 2, so maybe that's why it took so long. Maybe they're already developing Days Gone 2. I hope they are, because that'd be bloody amazing, that would, what do you think? That'd be one hell of a game, that would. Imagine Days Gone 2 after everything that's happened. They're coming, says the person at the end, but I don't know, it's quite interesting that. Yes, the last thing I want to talk about is the UI, the user interface, the menus and stuff like that. Everything is smooth. The crafting menu slows time right down, so you get a couple of seconds to do things. The pause menu, you have to see the number, say 836 days gone, which kind of gives you how long it's been since everything went down. I thought it was pretty nice of them to do that, as well as the pause menu, as I said, the start menu, not pause menu, sorry, the start menu, not the pause menu. That kind of thing. You've got these, you've got the map as well. The map, I have to say, is quite good. I like the fact that as you go along, you're able to like see the map get uncovered as you travel across the map. You get to see more uncovered as you progress the story as well. And as well as if you zoom in, it looks exactly as if you're getting like a satellite view of it, so you can actually tell if something's a point of view, like a Nero research center or something like that, just by zooming in on the map, if you know what they look like. But I thought it was clever, because then we're able to find certain things a little bit easier if we really are looking for it, but obviously it's kind of hard to tell unless you know where to look. That's what I also like about that as well, it's just the way the menu is there, but the map looks and it's pretty highly detailed, I must admit. It's something you wouldn't usually see in a normal map. Usually maps are kind of like 2D. This is a 3D map effect, similar to what Far Cry had, I believe. So that must, take a bit of work, because you have to make sure you know what the map looks like from an aerial view, and you know what the map looks like perfectly, especially when things get affected. You've got to change that up. It's pretty amazing how they do it. It's massive props to people who developed this game. So, I believe that's it. Oh, the touchpad. Oh, the touchpad as well. I almost forgot to mention that. The way you swipe up to get into the storyline, swipe left to get to the infantry, swipe right, which is the map, and swipe down for the skills. I actually like that. I use the touchpad quite often. It's to the point of ended up trying to use it in another game, which is not something you want to do. But I really just like clear it out so you can see. I wanted to see what wrong with it, with the hell wrong with that guy's face, but I moved on. But yeah, the touchpad, the fact it allows you to access his menus really does actually allow you to use that mode, because every other game currently, as far as I know, don't use the touchpad as much as this game does. The touchpad kind of becomes like your main thing. Rather than pressing the start button to go to the actual pause menu, you can use the touchpad to go into different things, or press it to go to something. But the all four things you can select. I like the way they're doing the touchpad. It's quite smart in my opinion. But with the menus and all that, it's solid, it's smooth, it's fluid, it works essentially. It's aesthetically pleasing. It matches. Even with the After Days Gone level, it kind of looks a bit MC. I don't know if anybody else kind of knows that, or I'm just kind of overanalyzing it, considering it used to be part of an MC. But that's how I see it really. Now on to the couple of bad things I want to point out is the extreme lack of resources as well. And as well as if you're maxed out on a certain resource and you were to activate survival sense, it still appears. I don't like that, due to the fact that it's like, oh, something there, oh wait, I'm maxed out on it, that kind of thing. What I would say is, if you're maxed out on something, it doesn't show up. It's like some of the doors as well. I mean, we know where the doors are, I don't know why the game is telling us where it is. I find that kind of annoying. You think, oh, is there something here? No, it's just the door handle. And it is slightly frustrating sometimes. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, because things are already maxed out and it's a friggin' door. That was a waste of time, kind of, so I don't really like that as much. But another thing is the melee weapons. I don't think it's much of a bad thing. You said you can upgrade them, but I didn't realise you could until much later when I picked up a saw blade. But melee weapons aren't bad, but they break very easily. I think it's more of a nitpick more than anything else. I mean, I don't mind the breaking. It kind of makes you think, well, I need to keep an eye on it because I repair it if I want to keep it. I mean, the current melee weapon I have is pretty OP, so to speak. If one shots cougars and fucking wolves on those is quite good. But I was saying something else. I would say it's kind of grindy after a certain period. In times you have to like want to get the trust up for all of the camps. A little bit grindy, but if you take on a couple of hordes, that'll boost trust right up. You'll get all sorts of ears. Then if you got to a point where I max out on ears once, 999 was the max you could get. Believe it or not, it was the swarmers. That earned me so many credits. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use the trust for them because I've maxed out all the trust in the northern areas, but I couldn't access the southern areas, so I had to get rid of them somehow. Which unfortunately I had to get rid of at a random camp, but he gave me credits anyway, so you know, I got plenty of them, especially in the south region. Anything else? I don't think there is anything else really. I think that's about everything that I wanted to speak about the game. Overall, amazing, love it. I don't mind the slow-mo, the focus thing, which is pretty good. Oh yeah, I just want to also thing as well. Sometimes when you roll and the enemy's already attacking, it still hits deep even though you're in mid-roll. That's something that shouldn't happen because in fact you're dodging. That might be a collider issue maybe, I'm not sure, but see when I rolled when I got hit, the blood came out where I wasn't. That makes sense. I'm kind of like in mid-roll on my back kind of thing, about to get up, but I'm getting hit and the blood's coming out from above, out of nowhere. That kind of thing. So I just had to do. I knew the fuck it was somewhere. I didn't want him to be there, but you know, free kill, why not? I was saying that's everything really. I mean, the weaponry is good. You get selection. The sniper rifle that I currently go is fucking OP as shit, dude. Honestly, what used to be lethal, like the breakers from like earlier on in the game, they used to be difficult to beat. One shot to the head now. So it really gives you that moment of power. You meet a new enemy, you go, holy crap, this guy is tough. But when you get on to later, you're able to defeat them. Then they hit you with another enemy, like the Ragers. But now they're relatively easy to defeat. They're still annoying to kill, but they're still kind of decent. It introduces you to new enemies. The Reaches, that was meant to be a new one. I had a little boss fight with him, but I wiped him out pretty quickly. Just kept hitting him with the superior mace that I found, and he was just gone. Like, okay, fair enough. One shot to the head as well, and as well as shooting off the arms. That's another thing as well, actually. She being able to shoot off the arms is pretty good, actually. You don't usually get that in many games, I don't think. I'm just trying to think now. You do get it in... No, you don't get it in Killer Floor 2. You think about 7 Days or Killer Floor, but I can't really compare this game to anything. But overall, pretty damn good. I love the way the bike moves as well. I love the way the animations work. I love the story. I love the way it introduces the characters, where you can get immersed into the game, involved with the character deep, understand the plight he's going through, his grief, seeing how he was relieved when he put Sarah on that chopper, and then to find out and kind of got overrun, you know, that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's been one hell of a game. Considering it took me 2 weeks after it got released to even beat the story, which is pretty amazing, I must say. Holy crap, this is a half an hour episode on a review on a game. I was expecting it to be 10, 15 minutes at most. I may need to get more footage if I'm not careful. But overall, amazing game. Loved it. The fact that the hordes are the biggest threat, you had to avoid them until you were powerful enough to take them. Even then, you were still doubting. But you can, once you defeat your first couple, it's kind of easy to do. You get new enemies coming up all the time. I've yet to meet a new sort of backpack, so the newts are kind of annoying. Easy to kill though, but still annoying. But thank you all for watching. If you want to see the entire series, if you don't mind spoiling the story a little bit, feel free to watch it to the end. I would recommend watching the entire series before the end so you can make sense of what's happened. Sorry this went on for a long time. I'm not usually used to doing these types of reviews for this long due to my course. I'm blaming my course for it. Shut up. I analysed the game quite well. But thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, make sure to subscribe for more. Make sure you tap that bell as well so you always get notified, because YouTube's a bit dicky with it, I think. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
We tried contacting you on our channel.
Well, I lost the radio the night that shit went down.
Did she make it out? Your wife?
Yeah, no thanks to you.
I'm glad. There's something that I have to tell you.
So talk.
In person.
Nah, I don't think so.
It's important.
Shit.
In the Northern Cascades, there's an old pioneer cemetery.
Yeah, okay. I know the one.
Meet me there. Please.
Well, I can't say I expected to hear from you again. What is it this time?
Believe me or not, I'm glad to see you again. That night at Wizard Island didn't seem to go well.
What can I do for you, O'Brien?
I'm here to warn you.
Warn me about what?
You remember? I told you the infected were evolving.
Right, yeah, a freak's a freak. What the hell do I care?
The strain of the virus, its effects on the human nervous and lymphatic systems is accelerating
at an exponential rate.
They knew all along, of course, that it was happening. The men above me. That's why they were so cautious. So secretive. They're coming. I'm sorry. There's nothing you can do to stop them. There's nothing anyone can do.
What the fuck?
So that's the ending clip, which surprised the shit out of me when I first saw that. I wish I had my mic on to record my actual reaction.
This is James Weaver. I got a job for you if you're in our neck of the woods.
Weaver, hey, I'll see what I can do.
But Jim, I believe there may be a hint to Days Gone 2, like I said earlier in the review. That may be Days Gone 2 dropping right there.
This is Radio Free Oregon. The truth shall set you free. You heard me talking about the black choppers? Nero choppers? Well, none have been sighted in days. But don't cool your heels just yet. Nero isn't done, not by a long shot. With Nero out of the skies, that can only mean one thing. They got what they're after, and they've all flown back to their coops. This is the endgame, friends. The feds have had this plan ready long before the freaks. Now, they're gonna roll over the earth. And woe to anyone who stands in their way. But we've hung on this long. We're not gonna give up now. We're fighters. We've survived 2 years in the shit, in the freak show. And we are nothing if not prepared.
Like I said before, Cope, you don't know the half of it. But yeah, I'm with you on this one. It ain't over yet.